Okay, my appetite is tight. I got an appetite right now. So these are the green beans that Mr. picked today. Might pick some more tomorrow. Because I didn't have to cook. Say, I didn't have to cook. I didn't have to cook. And I'm brilliant. And I'm brilliant. And I'm brilliant. Brilliant. What was I gonna tell you? I was gonna come and bitch about something else he just made me mad about. Oh, I hate when people apologize to me. It's the same theory as people adjusting the temperature according to my body temperature, even after I have insisted that you shouldn't do that because my body temperature changes from minute to minute, right? So it's the same thing. Like, okay, I'll tell you exactly what happened. I ain't gonna use an example. I had my seeds up here. I threw it away. I had my seeds up there, and I had them on parchment paper, and on one side I had one type of tomato, and the other side I had the other type of tomato, and I had them labeled because I told y'all, bitch. Well, God has told us all, label everything no matter how much of a connoisseur, experience, a veteran you are at this shit. Label your shit, okay? So I labeled my shit, collected the seeds, labeled them, but this is the first time I did this because I normally don't put them on the same piece of parchment paper. They usually have their own parchment paper for this reason, so I don't get them mixed up, especially if there's different varieties of the same fruit, which in this case they were. So I had one kind of tomato on one side and one kind of tomato on the other side. I'll use this paper towel on this side. And I let them dry out, and they were dried out, but I just hadn't put them in their bags at the time. And they were my last fucking seeds too. I still have plenty, but I don't know. Y'all know how I am with seeds. I don't even like to. I got mad because I had to throw away 5 seeds from when I was putting them in the proper bag, and they fell on the counter, so I didn't know which one was which. I had to get rid of like 5, 7 seeds. I kept them things between my fingers for so long because I was really considering just planting them blindly next year, and however they came up, then I would know which ones they were. All not to waste a few seeds, y'all, when I probably got a couple thousands of seeds. Anyway, so I accidentally knocked my seeds over, my sheet of seeds over, bloop, and I was like, oh shit. And so he turned around and said, what happened? And I hated to even tell him because I knew he was going to do this. See, strangers don't notice about me, but if you love me, then you notice about me. So it makes me even madder when it happens and you do it anyway. So I was like, I knocked my seeds over. And he was like, I'm sorry. Now, I went from first, I understood people didn't know, and that's what people do. They just say, I'm sorry, whether they are or not, because we're all conditioned to seem more compassionate than we really are, but whatever. So I understood it came from a good place, and I understand that it comes from a good place. So, but after being around me for so long, you know how I am. And so I'll kind of ease into it by saying, I was like, you don't have to apologize for that. That's not your fault. It'll go from that. And then it'll go from, you don't have to apologize for that. That's not your fault. And then between then and the next time, I will have had several conversations where I just don't want you to apologize. I don't want you to feel like you need to apologize to me for something that has nothing to do with you. Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't do that. So then if they continue to do it, see, it makes me feel like you feel like you need to apologize to me for some whole shit that ain't got nothing to do with you. Or if I'm looking for something and can't find something, be like, I lost my such and such. She'd be like, I'm sorry. Did you hide it from me? That's what it goes to. From, you don't have to apologize for that. It's not your fault. You know? To eventually, when I start getting frustrated, I'll say, did you hide it from me? You know? I'll say something like that. Like, I'll say something that means, is it your fault? And when they say no, then I'm like, oh, well, then you don't owe me an apology for that. I hate when people apologize when they don't owe me an apology. Because, see, when you owe me an apology, we all know that ain't going to never happen. I mean, not with him. He'll apologize. But in general, with people, And that's why this generally pisses me off. And the fact that he loves me and lived with me for a couple of decades and knows it's about me and will apologize. I know it's his empathy, not just compassion. There's a whole different level with empath. But he'll say, "Oh, I'm sorry." So when I just dropped my seeds, and he was like, "What happened?" Because I wouldn't have told him. I would have volunteered told him. "What happened?" I'm like, "I dropped my seeds." And just like we know he would do, he's like, "I'm sorry." So I just kept working. I ignored it. So I go from telling people you don't have to apologize to me for something you didn't do to, "Oh, did you do it?" "Okay, well, you don't have to apologize to me." To the final stage is, "I'm just ignoring you." And guess what the gag is with that? When you start ignoring them after you have told them, not only don't you have to apologize to me, it makes me feel bad for you to apologize to me for something you didn't do. It makes me feel horrible. It makes me feel selfish. It makes me feel like a sociopath. So don't apologize to me unless you owe me an apology. Don't do it. So when I get to the point where I ignore your apology that you don't owe me, it's not a good space as an introvert. Neither as an introvert nor an indigo, so the combination is very, very, very bad.